Hi, I'm Yaya, and welcome to Yaya's Senior Moments in Watercolor, where we make watercolor fun, easy, and joyful at any age. If you've ever wanted to try watercolor, you're in the right place. I'm on my own journey, so come on along, let's learn together. For those of you new to these videos, my goal as a beginner was to point others to the videos and books that I found helpful. So I'm on this journey with you learning together. In the first two episodes, we covered a couple of techniques. We talked about wet on dry, which is the most common, as well as wet on wet. In addition, we learned some more about values, light to dark, water control, which I confessed I still struggle with water control even to this day. Knowing these terms and practicing your drills will come in handy in the next few videos. Today we're going to talk about loose florals, and I mean loose florals. So come on, let's dive into it. So as I said before, today's emphasis is going to be on loose florals, and this is my example from the homework. So you're going to be learning to do something very similar. In addition, we're going to go over something fun to do with your paintings, as well as talk about how to clean your brushes, because we're at the stage if you all have your supplies now, we got to be cleaning those brushes. And so we're going to start right off with the good, the bad, and the ugly episode. And these are some of my early works of florals, and I can't help it. It does make me laugh when I look back on them. They're very simple. They're just so simple. The rose wasn't bad. I have to say that. I did like the rose on there. And oh, here's your hint for the day. Yaya always reuses her watercolor paper unless it's something I did really well and nice, then I don't reuse it. But you can see all my practicing on here. This is one I liked. What I did there is just start out with a really light shade, and we've talked about dark and light. And then I gradated it up to just a little bit darker, and then a little bit darker, and then a final layer of darker yet. I kind of liked how that one turned out. All the rest is just practice stuff with me. And these are some delightful flowers, aren't they? And again, I do use whatever color is left on my palette. I try not to waste paint. If I have a lot of blue on there, this color for whatever reason, that's what I'll use to practice with. Again, leaves and stems, you know about that. And my water control is very noticeable on this one here. Oh, this one's even better, water control issues. So I am better. I'm not perfect at it yet, but I am better at my water control. And then this one I just threw in because it was kind of fun. This was, I went through a polka dot phase. So if you could see, everything has a white ink on there that I did. So again, just be creative. Do what brings you joy and what you have fun doing. I did want to talk a little bit about leaves and stems with loose florals. As you know, it's one of my issues, and I just put this on here because it was on my notes for my storyboard to talk about leaves and stems, and that's really how I feel about them many days. This is probably one of my favorites, and that it's really bad. If you'll notice here, I start out okay, but then it turns into a cornstalk, and then it comes back to being skinny on this one. And that's really easy to do. When you all start stems, here, let me grab a piece of paper. When you're doing stems, they work the best if you trace where you want to draw, first of all. And then if you hold your brush perpendicular to your paper, you'll get a fairly good straight line. You know, I can do great stems that way, I've learned. But to begin with, it was easy. I'd be painting this one. I keep my brush at a 45-degree angle, and what happens is I start out thin, but you put a little pressure on that brush, and look what happens to it. It turns into the cornstalk really fast, and I think, oh shoot, I shouldn't have done that, bring it back to skinny. So again, take it from, I still have to think about it. Did you notice my hand there? I went to go this way, and I thought about it, and you have to do a perpendicular, and you'll get a much better looking stem on them. So that's another hint for the day. So that was cornstalk stems. This is just, it's simple. It's bad. This one makes you laugh. It's so bad. Starts at nothingness, goes to cornstalk, and I don't know, it just went by the wayside. And then this one, you look at it and you say, oh, it's not too bad. Yeah. And I go, yeah, it's not too bad. But if you notice this leaf here, there is no direct connection to a stem anywhere. So I just drew one up to it, hoping that people wouldn't notice. But that's what happens if you don't do that. If you remember and watched the last video, the first one, you would have seen this picture before. It's the one where we took the yellow out on the sides, and I can't even tell where it was. But what I didn't show you was there was an original. There you go. And it's okay. It's just, I didn't like it. I didn't like the crowded stuff here, and I think I was trying to make it too exactly the same as her. So what I did is I threw this one, I practiced a tree on it too, and started over again. So another hint for the day is start over. If you don't like something, but you like the picture and what you're doing, start over. Who cares? It's good practice for you anyway. So I just wanted to say that don't be afraid that every picture is going to be perfect. You've seen mine. You've seen the good, bad, and ugly, and it's not. So feel free to start over as needed. So my question for you today is, do you have something you found that you struggle with already in your practicing paintings? Please share it with us. It makes me feel better if nobody else, but it makes me feel better knowing that other people have to practice a lot to do it right. But like I've told you before, I find it relaxing, so practice isn't hard for me to do. So if you feel like it, put in the comments if you would, and just tell me what you struggle with. And then as a second part to that, show me some of your homework. I've showed you mine, some really bad, some really ugly. So feel free to share, and I'd really appreciate that. Okay, so it's time for something fun. We've had 2 prior episodes that was all work and getting supplies. Let's do something fun. So what I have here is, this is one of your homework assignments, and I can't remember if it was last week or this week, but I thought, that wouldn't make a bad card. I get them from Walmart, but you can get them from Hobby Lobby has them, I know, and Michael's has them. It's just a set of cards, comes with envelopes, comes in different colors. And what I've done is bought these picture corners, and I'll put the link down below. They come in different colors, and usually what I do is I'll just put them on the 4 corners because it's easier that way than trying to figure it out some other way. Let's put them on all the corners. And this started because I sent one of my cards to a friend, and she said, I wish you wouldn't have glued it down because I'd like to take it out. So there's another hint. When you do your cards, use the picture corners. Again, then you're just going to lay it on here, try to get it centered as best you can, and push down the 4 corners, and voila, you have a card. Actually, a very nice card. So that's one thing to do with them. This is another one I did, and it wasn't intentional. It wasn't meant to be a card. I just wanted to show you that I had painted this on a larger piece of paper, and I liked it. So I thought, well, let's do that as a card. So different color corners, but the same idea. So the advantage of doing this with the corners is you can take your picture and take it out of the card. And I like magnetic frames. So this is just a simple magnetic frame. I could put the link. You can get these anywhere too. Hobby Lobby, Michael's. I think I bought this one from Amazon. And there you go. You can set it up on your desk, and it's cute. So if you get yourself an artwork, you could do a set of 3 botanicals and put them side by side. But that's another fun thing to do with your paintings. So I like my Princeton stamp brushes here. This is my 6th round, and I just wanted to show you how I clean my brushes. I'm going to load it up here with some paint first. We'll get it nice and great with green. If you ever have slivers of paper, when you've cut up your pictures and stuff, I keep them and use them for testing my colors on. It works great. If you notice, I have some extra sitting by here already waiting to go into use. So another hint of the day, use your scraps for that. So what I do is I'm going to take my brush. This is my dirty water, and I know you can't see my waters over there, but I have a short one and a tall one. I used to have 2 of these, and I kept making them both dirty. Not intentionally. I just, I'm in a hurry and I'm in the zone and I'm not thinking and whatever. So by switching to making my clean water in the tall ones, you can see it still has some dirty paint on it. I very seldom make this dirty anymore. It stays clean, which is really nice. So again, we're just going to swish it around until we think it's clean. And then what I do is I roll it on the paper towel. And I just want to make sure there's no more green in there. And that actually looks pretty good. I might do one more swish. And just again, make sure you don't, and when you push it down, I push it down up to the ferrule, which is this metal part, just to make sure, because sometimes stuff hides there. And then basically you want to take and lay it flat. And I have a picture I'm going to have my editor put up here. And as you can see, I lay my brushes on it. It's a soap pad, believe it or not. And then lay them against the edge of my palette, and it keeps them flat. You want to keep them flat so that the bristles dry in the flat shape. And there is an optional video by Jenna Rainey in today's list in the description below, so feel free to watch that if you want to find out more about brushes. And she even talks about a couple types of brushes after the cleaning. So that's optional, but feel free to watch that. So today I have two books for you that I really like. One is called Watercolor Flowers by Blay Hack. And the reason I like her, she's very similar to Painting Calm. I mean, just look at the cover. You can flip it open anywhere and find something to paint. That's probably my favorite thing to do with her. She also has, at the beginning, she has, like they all do, they have some basic instructions and stuff. But the things that I like particularly about her is like, just this page, for example, she'll give you patterns. You know, I didn't think to just make little leaves like that, and they look pretty darn good. So that's one thing I liked about her. Another one here is, this is just showing you, here's, you saw this picture last week, or a version of it. Put it the right way. This one actually was the original, and then I made the new one with the bee because I liked it. So if you notice, none of my colors match any of these pictures here. But again, I used what was on my palette and what I liked. Then I thought, oh, let's get crazy here and do that and make a big one. So here's my big one, but there's too many dots and they interfered with the flowers and it just got too busy. So there you go. Test on the other side. We play with the other side. Then I did this one, and again, it looks okay, but it looks too retro. And I know retro's in, but having lived through the retro, it didn't do much for me. And again, you know, stuff on the back because I reused my papers. So again, I think you'll find her kind of fun and interesting. I know I did. I do like that she has a lot of borders in here. So if you're doing cards and you want to write something in the center, go ahead. And this was me just playing, looking at some of her things and just putting hodgepodge actually together and seeing what I liked, what I didn't like. Then I used my ink pen on half of it up here. Did I like it with the ink pen better, or do I like it without the ink pen better down here? So she inspires you to do a lot of things. That's my favorite kind of book, is I can just flip it open and go, oh, hey, you know, there's something to paint on every page. So again, that is Watercolor Flowers by Blay Hack. And then my second book for today is Painting Watercolor Botanicals by Harriet De Winton. And this one borders a little bit more on literal translations, you know, like still life of flowers, but it does have some that look pretty much like loose florals. And that's the one I wanted to show you in here. In particular, when you do your homework videos today, you're going to see Emma do roses, and they're very similar to this. And she does the same thing as a video, step by step, how to do it, how to make it look good. So we'll probably get into this book more when we get to mixed media and drawing more real life flowers. But for now, the other thing I liked was, again, leaves, practice strokes. So I want to tell everybody, you know, if you're not into loose florals, it's still a good place to start with practicing your strokes and getting your curves and practicing leaves, because it's all going to come in handy for any of the styles we look at. So I would encourage you, just do the homework, like them or not, get them done, and we'll be moving on to other styles. In fact, next week we're going to go over some of the different styles I've looked at. So your homework this week is actually 4 videos, but all of them are pretty short. So the first one is how to paint the 3 easiest loose flowers, and that's the Emma one, and she'll show you the rose and the, I can't remember all her flowers now, but I really liked it. And next is how to paint the easiest watercolor flower, 5-minute loose floral tutorial. This is just one flower, and it really is 5 minutes, and it's a fun one to do. It's actually similar to what my card was that I showed you. Again, how to paint basic watercolor leaves, because you usually are going to want leaves to go along with your florals. And finally, Beginner's Skill is a Game Changer by Emma again. And some of it's water control, and some of it is actually making sure that you have a good ratio of light to dark. So as you can see, I did what she recommended, to take a picture of my photo and then edit it on my phone to turn down the saturation so that it was all gray and in gray tones. And you can see that it seems to be there's a fair amount of light to dark on there, and that's what she wants you just to be aware of when you're doing pictures. So if you have a chance, that's in the last video, do that too and post your pictures for me so I can see them. I just wanted to show you this picture. I know you see lines here and they look pretty darn good, don't they? Because they're part of the flower, but actually those lines were not intentional. They're because I did not clean my brush well enough. And if you let a color dry in there, when you go to wet it and paint again, you're going to get streaks of it. So on one of them I did a while back, because I haven't done that for a while, I had blue and if it was pink that showed up in it, or pink with blue that showed up in it, but I was painting away and all of a sudden there's this totally opposite color coming through. So if you don't clean your brushes every time and the paint dries in there, it will reactivate in your brush when it gets wet and it will make itself known. So again, that's just, I forgot to show you that picture, but that's my bad picture right there. So make sure you clean your brushes and you won't have that happen on a good picture. Next in the series will be an overview of different watercolor styles that I have tried. I have my favorites and you will develop your own favorites. And I need some landscape artists out there because I don't do that well either. Thanks for watching. As always, if you appreciated this video or learned something from it, please like it below and subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of new videos. And on that note, let's close with Yaya's Irish blessing. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May your colors be bright, your heart be light, and may joy guide your watercolor journey. Till next time.